we're starting this podcast. My name is John, and you are,
I'm DJ.
and we're going to start this podcast. It's going to be called "When It Gets Heavy." You know how when life gets you down, and you feel like you're being weighted down. Well, I think that's where we got the name, pretty much, didn't we, DJ?
Yeah, yeah. All the life altering life events that are happening, in today's world, the real world problems that we got going on.
Yes, I
Just
completely.
try to share a little bit of light and hope, and maybe some motivation through the process to help people out when they're going through rough times, and speak our opinions on the real world problems that are going on at this time.
And I think the biggest thing that you and I wanted for this podcast is we didn't want it to be scripted.
Mm-mm.
Right. We just wanted it to be, off the cuff, clean, family clean. I know we talked about having some guests come in, web guests. We can do that. We can also have callers come in. We're right in the middle of trying to work all of the logistics out on that. We have a website that we're working on. We're
We
going to
have
be
a Facebook page.
Yep, Facebook page. We're gonna post this to YouTube, Facebook, and regular podcast. I'm sure there may be other platforms that we do, but we want to keep this entertaining. I think this is really going to be a great podcast once folks start really getting involved, and especially if we have call-ins. And we will obviously have some different things that we talk about, daily news, and we're going to talk about Jesus on this podcast, and it's really going to be fun.
Yeah, and we're going to have an email set up as well. So if there's something that maybe one of y'all are interested in hearing our opinions and our thoughts on what is happening, or whether what's something you've got going on in your life, if there's something that you want us to talk about, y'all are more than welcome to, like you said, either call in when we get that up and operational, or you can email us in. Say, hey, let's take example. There was two or three school shootings yesterday, one at LSU, one in and two in Missouri, within the last couple of days. If you want us to talk about something, maybe one of those events, let us know in advance, and we can do our research on it, get our P's and Q's straight on it, and then that's something that we can talk about in a podcast in the next week or two after that.
Oh, yes, I completely agree. I think this is going to be one of the podcasts that we keep real. I'm out on my back deck right now, and you may never know. I may go out and record in our camper or something, or just sit out in the middle of the yard.
Right now, I'm sitting in my son's bedroom.
So we
And
don't
I
have a
forgot
bunch of fancy stuff behind us and lights, and
No, we don't have them cool backdrops or anything, but I forgot to mention. So, yes, my name is DJ, but I am in law enforcement, and that is my career. Uh, been a cop for a couple of years now, and will continue my career until I retire as a police officer. But that is what I do.
yeah, I think I said that at the first, and we decided to cut that piece out. We may leave it, but my name is John, and I've been in technology for the last 23 years. Hopefully, I'm getting closer and closer to retirement, but I say that every year, and then it's probably not going to happen.
I've got too many kids for retirement anytime soon.
Well, I'm old, and all the kids are grown, but about to be a grandpa in February, so
Oh,
that
congrats!
it's gonna keep me busy. And waiting to see next week. Actually, this Friday, we're headed to Pigeon Forge for vacation, and so the next episode, I'm sure we're going to shoot, or I'll be shooting from Pigeon Forge. So that'll be fun. So you'll get to see where we're staying. It's a nice little Airbnb.
Yeah, I'll still be shooting probably in my son's bedroom next week.
You may have to go
So,
outside, try a different
yeah,
location.
I may try the back deck, or I don't know. You'll never know. I may be in the closet one day and the pantry the next. You never
Yeah,
know with me.
there he may be in the car.
I may be. So, But no, I think this podcast is going to be very beneficial, very heart touching. It's something that we want to draw people that that are going through hard times or questioning about things, and then just people that even just want to listen and know their stuff, know their facts, but they just want maybe other opinions on what is going on.
Yes, I agree. I'll be 50 in December, so I've been through a lot in my life. And, I think this podcast too may, not that we're counselors or anything, but we have a lot of life experience, especially between the two of us. And I think that maybe we could lend our 2 cents, if someone were to call or even email and said, "Hey, I have this problem, XYZ, what would be your recommendations on how to handle this problem or this situation?" And maybe that's something that we can help with. I don't know.
Yeah, or even if I'm 28, but I've done a lot of things in my career wise, working in law enforcement, and then on the other side of things, corrections and working for the funeral home and the coroner's office. I've seen a lot, done a lot, dealt a lot with a lot of families that are going through hard times in their life, and just a little words of wisdom, a little motivation every now and again never helps. So, and that may be one thing. I watch a lot of motivational videos from good speakers, retired Navy SEALs, active Navy SEALs, all these kind of things that we could post maybe some of these clips on our Facebook page if y'all are following us, and y'all can watch them maybe just for that little bit of motivation to help you throughout the week or the day, whatever you need.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. I think it's really going to be a big help. And when, like you were talking about, I was a former volunteer firefighter. Did
Mhm.
that for a number of years, and of course, my whole career since I was a kid, I have done many many different things. And I'm still young enough that I can hopefully retire from what I'm doing now. Maybe do something different. We really enjoy camping. We got another camping trip coming up in November, so I'm really looking forward to that. You know, and I think that what's going to help not keeping this scripted is that everyone knows that this is just us. This is just how we are. Like you were talking about, DJ, on these school shootings. That's what really makes me nervous. This day and time that we live in, and it's not just the schools. It's everywhere you go. It's
Yep.
just getting worse and worse.
Yeah, and a lot of these targeted events nowadays is concerts,
Hmm.
football games, schools, churches, malls. It's things with large crowds, and we're not saying that to scare anybody. Uh, that I'm just hitting these points just so that you're aware of the things that are going on, which I'm sure you are because you watch them on the news. Just but always to be, very aware of your surroundings. Know your exits, know how your plan's going to be. If some in an event, it doesn't even have to be a shooting, whether it's a fire, a natural disaster. Have these plans set in place, especially people with kids, so y'all know where you're going to go, where your exit is going to be, where your meeting place is going to be. If in the event of a house fire, your kids get out before you, where is your meeting place going to be? Outside by the mailbox, the neighbor's house, something that y'all have pre planned and know where y'all are going to go.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I was going to say that, and you can chime in on this from the law enforcement side of things. I have a concealed carry permit, and
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend that people go and take that class just so that you will learn about the different Arkansas laws and how to properly handle your firearms. I know a lot of people say, well, I can constitutional carry, and that is true, but I highly recommend that you go do that. And if you don't feel comfortable carrying a handgun, then I say don't do it. Maybe get you some pepper spray. And of course, you can chime in on that. What may be the best thing that people could do if they don't feel like carrying a handgun? Some people just don't.
Handguns, pepper spray, tasers. There's a lot of different things that you can use. I mean, I doubt anybody would walk around with a baton in their purse, but
Yeah, that's true.
there's a lot of different things that you can utilize for self-protection. Um, and then if you don't feel comfortable with that, a lot of men carry. So if you have a spouse, fiance, boyfriend, what have you, um, maybe bring that up to him if he's a gun fanatic and maybe he don't have his concealed. But there are a lot of classes. There's a lot of gun safety classes. A lot of police departments also have Citizens Police Academy where they hold classes for citizens and tell them about some laws, gun safety, and get the aspect on what law enforcement does. Traffic stops, calls, how they're going to approach vehicles, things of that sort. So maybe you can go to your local police department and ask if they hold a Citizens Police Academy or a class along those lines, and you can get into those. And it's very good information, not only to see what the police department does, but it's a good information for a plan for yourself.
It's interesting that you said talking about the taser. I never thought about that. I never thought about carrying a taser.
Well, I guess
But
now
but I
people
no, I mean
carry
I think it's a good
stun
thing. I've
guns.
just never thought
Yeah,
about doing that
yeah.
because when I
I don't
think
think it's necessarily like a taser that shoots the probes out, but more of a stun gun type thing. With the prongs that they can, you have to physically touch somebody with it. But yes, a lot. I know some people that carry those.
But I guess I was thinking more along the lines of what you were just talking about, that law enforcement carry is the one that shoots the probes out. Can regular, ordinary, everyday citizens carry those? I mean,
I do not know that answer,
I don't
but
know.
that's something that we can research and maybe talk about on next podcast. Because me personally, I'm not going to walk around with a taser because I carry a gun. So
Right. But I mean,
I
I'm
mean,
just saying for somebody that may not feel comfortable carrying a gun, but they could carry a taser. I mean, I know those, they're a little bit bigger than a gun, right? I mean, it's the ones that
it,
you deploy.
yeah, the
Um,
ones that actually deploy probes out, but they have the stun guns that are about the size of the palm of your hand, really. Um, I mean, they're beneficial. They do they do the work that you need to be done,
yeah.
and you see results from it. Um, but we want to talk about these things to hit on these points for people, so they're aware of their surroundings, they know what's going on in the real world. And like I said before, whether if you already know what's going on and you want somebody else's opinion, we want to welcome everybody in. And if you just call in one day when we have that line operational, and you call in one day and say, I just need somebody to pray for me. I'm not, John, I don't know about you, but I'm sure you would. But me personally, in the drop of a hat, I'll pray for somebody if they call in and need it, because I'm strong in my faith. I know people need it, and the power of prayer is a very, very strong thing. So,
Yes, yes, it is. I completely agree. I've been a Christian nearly my entire life, and I need to do a better job, at living
yep,
that life. And I think probably we all do, some more than others. And we get sidetracked and distracted. At least I get distracted very easily. Sometimes I think I have ADHD, and because I think about, oh, I need to do that. I need to start a little Bible study, and maybe that's something that me and you could do. Maybe we could do besides the podcast. Maybe we could just do a little side Bible study or something. You know, because I know not everybody is a believer, but should be. You should be a believer. But if you're not, I get it. That's your personal choice, and we're not here to shove it down your throats by any means. You know.
not at all. We're here to have a good time, bring light to the community. We'll crack jokes along in with our more serious stuff we talk about, just to try to lighten the mood. But we want to get a large gathering of people that listen to us, will call in and talk to us, email us. We want those communications. We want other people's opinions. It's not just what we're going to give. It's we want other people's opinions too on, you know, we're not going to have a debate. We're not going to, we're not going to get into one of those heated arguments, but we can agree to disagree. But we want other people's opinions on why you think the way things are done might be done this way versus why I think they're done might be this way. We can agree to disagree, but we want those opinions because you might change my mind on something, or I might change your mind on something. Or, like I said, we can agree to disagree, still be friends. You can still listen, and we can laugh and have a good time.
Yes, I agree. I mean,
So,
I think I just lost my train of thought. Oh, politics. We discussed about whether or not we were going to talk about politics, and I think that what we really should do is if we talk about a news event that has anything to do with politics, we kind of leave it at that. I don't really think we want to get into heavy discussions about Republicans and Democrats and all that stuff because people get so upset, and that's not what we're here to do. So
No,
I'm just saying that some things we talk about may be, a little political, but it's not going to be, you
no,
know,
I 100% agree with you on that. I'm not here to, like you said, like politics, but leave it at that. I'm not here to get into a deep delve into those things. Like I said, I want to share positive uh, feed, share positive, motivational, and talk about these events that are going on. Plus, talk about maybe add some scripture in or something. Just be very light and gentle about it. I'm not trying to. I don't want to be the one to push anything down anybody's throat because everybody's got different views, everybody's got different opinions, and I respect people that have different views and opinions because I've got my own, and I'd want to be respected by somebody who has a different view and opinion than me. So I'm just here to have a good time. I'm here to share some the word, and I'm here to share motivation and hopefully lift some spirits and talk about some of these real world problems that are going on that maybe we can all get through together.
yes, I completely agree. And we talked about we were going to post this on social media platforms. Plus, we'll put it on Apple Podcasts. So for those of you who don't want to watch the video, that you can listen in the car while you're driving down the road because you don't need to be watching a video while you're driving your car. It's unsafe. um, I think we're going to keep them because we're right at about 15 minutes. I think right now, or getting pretty close to that. By the time I edit a little bit of the first part of this out. Um, and we talked about keeping it 15 to 30 minutes, or we're just going to wing it. We really don't know, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's just, whatever we're feeling for the day. Some may be short, some may be long. I think it really just depends on the topics we're talking about and how deep we get into them. If we're talking about a real world event like such as a school shooting, church shooting, or
Hmm.
an airplane crash. If we're talking about a real world event that's going on, I think those are probably going to spill a little bit longer over into the 30
But
minutes or 45 minutes. But if we're just getting on here having a good time, answering questions, we got people calling in, it may be on the shorter side.
sorry, I'm about to get stung by a wasp.
No, over there doing the hokey pokey.
He thought, oh, he's gone crazy. Oh, but yeah, we'll have a good time, and I really think that when we have callers call in, that will help us a little bit, and as far as not filling all the dead area, and we'll
Mhm.
give everybody time to think, so that it's not scripted. We're not sitting here just reading from something that's coming from the heart. So I
Yep.
think it'll
Yeah,
really be a
because
good thing.
like you said, this is 100% unscripted. Everything I've said today is off the top of the head. I didn't pre-plan this. I didn't think about what I was going to say. My palms are sweaty over here. Because I was trying to think of some things to say. But I think once you get talking, once you get started on unscripted things, um, everything just flows from the mouth and it goes smooth, rather than reading off of a script. My personal
Yes.
opinion.
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. And you notice that in a lot of videos that you watch online that they're scripted, and I just
Yeah, I don't want to
I would
sound like
rather
a
see
robot.
somebody stumble, right?
I don't want to sound like a robot over here reading off a piece of paper. You know,
Right.
Uh, you know, I want this, kind of like we talked about earlier. Everybody's human. I want this to be unscripted. So, if we make mistakes, it's all right. Pick yourself back up and keep going. It's all
Yeah.
right to make mistakes. Things along the line of that.
And I hope when we get callers in that they keep it clean. And of course, we can always just hit the hang up button, right?
Yep. Yeah,
We
because
want
this
to
is
keep it family friendly, and
exactly. We want this to be something that maybe not if we're talking about some deep real world problems, maybe not your 7 year old needs to listen to it, but 15, 16 year old that's getting up there at age that's about to be a legal adult, they can listen to these things and say, hey, okay, I need to watch out for this or I need to do this, so we want it to be family friendly. And some of these topics, your 7 year old can listen to.
true.
It's just going to be one of those things. So we want this thing to be clean, family friendly for the whole family. We're not going to be on here talking foul language. We just want to share facts and share positive energy, positive vibes to people who need it and just who want to listen to it.
Yes, I completely agree. And I think too, one of the things that we should do is take questions. And now we
Yes.
may have already talked about that, but and somebody can send us topics that they want us to discuss, and we'll
Yep.
definitely research that, or unless we already know
Yeah.
all about it, you know.
Yeah, I hit on that earlier. Once we get our email up and operational, they can send us in, something that they want us to talk about in the email, and we can get our facts straight on it, do our research on it, and then maybe the next week or two, depending on where we are, the next week or two, we can talk about the topic that individual sent in.
Okay, yeah, I agree, and I'll work on that this week. I should be able to get that finished up, and
Sweet.
it's going to take us a couple of days to, uh, get I'm sure get this posted, but we'll get it done. So,
Well, I'm excited. I hope we have a large gathering, because this is something that I'm looking forward to. Whether we have one listener or 1,000 listeners, uh, it's going to be great regardless. So
oh, I think so. I completely agree with you. It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I am too. I think it's going to be a good time.
Well, what do you think? We're 20 something minutes in. I don't want to
Yeah.
just keep rambling unless we're really going to talk about something else. And
No, I think we did good. We did our introductions on who we were and what we did, and the audience we want to gather, and what we're going to talk about. So, I think that's pretty good for a wrap.
all right, that sounds good. We'll catch y'all. I guess we're going to try to do an episode a week. We really hadn't talked about it yet, and I guess depending on how much time we have, right?
Yep.
I have more free time than he does, so
Yeah. I think we can do pretty good on an episode a week.
yeah.
And if we start getting busier and larger gatherings, we can squeeze 2 episodes a weekend. But that's going to be down the line. So,
Okay, that sounds good for me. Well, hey, y'all all have a good week, and we'll talk to y'all next week.
yep. Have a good week, and thank you all for joining in and listening to this.